How we can use a conditional operator, or how we can use the conditions if and else in our Python program. Say here we are defining a variable x as 34. So this is the logic. Say how we can use the if block in our Python program. So in our C program, we have used brace to put the block and the statements inside the block, inside the braces. But here in Python, the syntax is we have to use indentation. The indentations are the white spaces that will define a particular block of code which is inside a block. So the starting of the block, you will find that most of the Python coding block which are defined under the indentation, the starting of the indentation is defined by this colon operator. So this colon operator, starting of the block, and we'll write our statements inside by following this similar level of indentation. Like here, if we define four spaces or a one tab of indentation, then each and every code will be inside this block. Now, if we execute this program, this is a single line. This line is inside the if statement, and this printf is outside the if statement. And the definition is that the starting of this block is defined by a colon, and we have a one tab indentation which clearly identifies these statements which are inside the if condition. So this print statement at line number 4, this is not inside the if block, as in line number 4 we haven't provided any indentation, and this follows the indentation of line number 1, line number 2, and line number 4. So this is how we'll define the code block by using the indentation. Now we can use this indentation for the definition of a loop also. Say here we're defining this loop. We're defining the variable I is 1, and say while I less than 5, and we'll use this indentation. See, as I am writing the code inside this collaboratory is automatically providing the required indentation here. As if I put enter in the line number 2, it will automatically jump to the line number 3 after providing a one tab indentation. But if you write code in Notepad or other editors which are not an IDE or integrated development environment, there you have to explicitly mention or explicitly put this indentation on your own, and you have to match those indentation. So if you have multiple blocks of code that you have to define, then you have to follow the proper indentation. So let's put another variable here. Say the previous logic. Here we are mentioning the previous logic. Uh, if you put a if logic here, so you have to follow, say x less than say 50, and this is the starting of the if block, and see the provided indentation is the two tab. Okay, so first tab, the code will be inside the while loop, and for the second tab mentioned here, the code will be inside the if block. Let's just copy it here. So this is just for the demonstration. I'm not going to execute the code. This is just for the demonstration. So now if I have to put something inside the while loop, so this is the end of if I use only one tab here, this will be the end of if block, and if I write any code here, this code follows one tab indentation here, as you can see. So this line will be inside the while loop but not inside the if block. This goes like this. This will be I. This is not X. This will be I. This is just for purely demonstration purpose. And if I write this line in line number 8, so this print statement, this will go inside the, this will follow the line number 1, line number 2, and line number 3, and line number 8. This doesn't have any indentation, and this line number will be outside of the if block and also outside of the while loop. So my point is that if you have logic multiple logic blocks, then you have to follow the proper indentation. If you change any indentation, it will throw an error. So this you have to follow because this is a single line of blocks here, but to solve a particular logic, you have to use multiple number of statements, and for that you have to follow the proper indentation. Many times you will face compile a runtime error or error thrown by interpreter if you forget to follow the proper indentation. So you have to keep in mind that the proper indentation is required for your logic. Now let's see the one of the most important topic is the processing of string in Python. In majority of the real world application, you will find that you have to process a string using a Python. So it is very much important that you learn those logics and the proper documentation of processing a string. So before going to the processing of a string, first let's define a string. So we can define a string using a double quote. This is one way of defining a string. So hello world inside the double quote, this is a string, and the string is referenced by this name mystr. So mystr will points toward this string hello world, and we can just simply print this string using the variable name. Now, as we have learned in C that the string is actually a an array of characters, and the array of characters, and this ends by this symbol null character, right? This one. So this is the definition in C. The string is an array of character, and the last character is the null string, but we cannot print the null string as this is not a printable character. But here in Python, the Python is fully object oriented language, so each and everything here in Python is represented under a class and by an object. So here mystr, this will be a string type of object, and though this is a string type of object, the character here will follow the logic of character array, similar to the C. So let's try this one. If we print mystr of 0, what will happen? So we have to comment out this one. So here mystr of 0 will print age. So let's see what is under 4. So under 4, this is O. So the first index is defined by index number 0. So this follows the C programming architecture. The first index is 0, and this goes 0, 1, 2, 3 like this, and here space is a character also, and this also has its own index number. Now, unlike C, there is a very interesting method that is called negative indexing, which is present inside Python. The negative indexing starts from -1 backwards. Okay, so the exclamation symbol here after the word, this will be -1. So let's try out this one. Mystr of, if we use the -1, it will print the exclamation symbol. So that is in index, under the index -1. So here we can use the negative indexing. So this symbol is -1, and D will be in -2. So mystr of -2, if we print this one, so this will be D. So D is in the index number of -2. So in Python, we can use both positive indexing and also negative indexing. It's like a doubly linked list. So Python actually implemented this logic using doubly linked list, but we can use the negative number here to trace back the array backwards. This is applicable for any array. It hasn't to be string always. You can have any array. Actually, array is not present in Python, but it we can use it in using other methods and other functions. So Python, if you use the logic of array, remember that you can use both positive indexing and negative indexing at the same time. Now the very important operator, this is called a slicing operator. Let's again define this string. So slicing operator, by using a slicing operator, you can slice an array or a string. So let's see how this works. So slicing operator works using the this works by using third bracket. Say if we write this one 2 and colon say 6. Okay, let's see what's in index number 6. So h is in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's make it 8, up to 8. Okay, so from 2 to 8, so this is the usage of slicing operator, and this is the syntax of using slicing operator. Let's see the output. So this is the output. Let's analyze this output. So the first index number, that is the left hand side of the colon, that is 2. So the index number 2 is h is index number 0, e is index number 1, then 2, then index number 2 we have l. So l is in index number 2, and what is in index number 8? So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. W is in index number 6, and O is in index number 7, and R is in index number 8. So here we have mentioned the index number 8 here from 2 to 8. So, but R is not here in the output. So the logic is that the slicing operator, the syntax of the slicing operator is the left side is included and the right side is excluded. That means it will print from 2 to 7. You have to remember that the right side number of the indexing operator, the colon, will not be included up to that, before that. So from 2 to 7, it will return the values from 2 to 7. So this is including and this is excluding. Left hand side is including and right hand side is excluding. So let's see another example. So 1 from 1 to 4, 5, say 5. So what will be the output? So this is the output. See, the space is in index number 5. So the output will be from index number 1 up to index number 4. 5 will not be there. This is the logic. Now we can use this slicing operator. Actually, the Python developer has incorporated more complex logic. So we can use the slicing operator in this way also. Let's comment out this one. Let me copy the output here. So this is the output. And this is the next output. Okay. If we the left and right side of the slicing or colon operator, that is optional. That means you may not provide the value here. So if you use this slicing operator like this, so there is no value on the left hand side, also on the right hand side. That means this method will return the entire array, nothing excluded. Something wrong here. Uh, oh, I forgot to mention the variable name. So this is the output. Nothing will be excluded. Now, if you mention colon and a value, so last time we have used the values 5. So here also we are using the value 5. Let's see the output. See, the output has started from the beginning, that is 0. So if you omit the value on the left hand side, it will process the array from the beginning or from the index number 0. So this part, it will process the array uh, from the beginning. Let's see another output. 2 and then colon. So this time here we have provided the value on the left hand side, but the right hand side, there is no value on the right hand side. So let's see the output. This is the output. So the output is that the left hand side has started from 0 up to the end. So if you do not mention any value on the right hand side of the slicing operator, it will process up to the end of the string or up to the end of the array. But if you mention any value on the right hand side, the processing will be done before that value. So you have to remember that. This is a bit complicated, but you will get used to it as you practice your Python program. Now, here we have used the while loop. And what about for loop in Python? Unlike C, the for loop in Python is explicitly being used to process a few defined data structures like list, tuple, or dictionary. The for loop is being designed in Python exclusively for traversing through a data structure. So here string is also a data structure because uh, it's an array, and we can traverse the value of the array by using for loop. So let's learn the syntax of using a for loop. So again we'll use this same array here. Now let's see how we can use the for loop. This is the syntax of using a for loop for traversing through the data structure. Let's shorten this string. just hello. So let's see what will be the output. See, it's processing the values one by one. So the value is present inside MyStr variable, and the for loop will assign each and every value present inside the string or the array. And here we are using this variable to access the values inside the array MyStr, and then we are taking the value one by one. So this is the syntax of for loop in Python. This is also applicable for processing or traversing through any data structure like list or tuples or sets, etc. So this is the main usage of for loop in Python, and if we require a logic that we have to use a loop, I'll prefer that you use while loop instead of for loop, because you may use for loop by using different tricks, but this is not recommended because for loop is explicitly being used in Python for traversing through the data structure. So this is the syntax of for loop. Now let's go back to our processing of string. Let's use this string. Now in this editor, there is an option for the documentation feature like this. If you put a dot after the variable, it will show you the methods which are available for that particular class. Here the particular class is string class, and MyStr is the object of the string class, and these are the methods that are available for the processing of strings. So there are lots of methods available, and you don't have to remember each and everything, as the documentation is always available to you. But few of the methods that you will remember, you will get used to by doing more practice. Let's try on this first method, that is called capitalized. So let's see what will be the output of this. Can you see the difference here? Anybody? কি চেঞ্জ হয়েছে আমাকে কেউ বলতে পারবে? What
স্যার
is the
MyStr ভ্যারিয়েবলের পরে ডট সিম্বল আসলে চলে আসে।
স্যার ওয়ার্ল্ডের মানে
মানে
ক্যাপিটালটা
ওয়ার্ডগুলো ইয়ে হয়ে গেছে।
মানে ভেতরের ক্যাপিটাল গুলো স্মল হয়েছে এক্সেপ্ট ফার্স্ট এরটা।
yes, right. So the capitalized method, দেখো এখানে আমি যেটা লিখেছিলাম ওয়ার্ল্ড এর ডব্লিউটা ক্যাপিটাল লেটারে ছিল, কিন্তু এখানে ওয়ার্ল্ড এর ডব্লিউটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি স্মল লেটারে হয়ে গেছে। সো দ্য ক্যাপিটালাইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি ক্যাপিটালাইজেস the first word. So now let's see another example. So what about case fold? Let's see the output of case fold. So it has turned this uppercase letter in lowercase. So this is we can use this one upper method to change each and everything in capital letter. And also it has this lower method to change each and everything in small case. So where are the applications of this? This actually depends on the logic which you have to solve. So for an example, like if you have to test whether a particular word or particular sentence is a palindrome or not, and the user may input the sentence in different cases. Okay, so for example, this word, say, this is a palindrome, APBA, this is a palindrome, and whether this word is palindrome or not. This is also a palindrome. Depends that you have to consider the case or not. And the general logic says that you have to ignore the case. But in your logic, if you apply the logic of a C program, so then you will check those characters, and you will test whether the character is the last character is same as the first character or not, and the equality operator will check the logic by using its own ASCII value. But the small a and capital A, this has a different ASCII values, so small a is not equal to capital A. So your logic will return false. So this is not a palindrome, but actually this is a palindrome. So the logic is that after the user input, you can change the input to either upper letter, uppercase or lowercase. Any case will work. So if you use this input, mystr input, mystr as hello world, if this is the input, you have to change the case in uppercase or lowercase. So if you use this logic, so then the different cases will not be a problem for your program or for your logic. So this is an application of upper or lower method for processing of a string. So there are various methods available here, uh, like this replace method. You can replace a particular character or a particular substring present inside a string, and there is the index, and that is find, to find whether a particular character or particular substring is present inside your string or not. So this depends on the logic that you have to solve, and the documentation is available here also and in website. But today I'm not going through this. You have to study this on your own. But this method I'll show you by using an example. This method is called split. The split method. The split method is very useful for splitting a particular string using a constant. So what is the constant? We'll learn that. But before going to that, I'll discuss these two operator, in and not in. So what is in and not in? This is applicable throughout the entire data structure, not the string. This is applicable. So let's see with an example. Say this is our string, and we are using this logic. Say if Z. Sorry, Z. In. So this is our program. By using this in operator, we can search for a particular string that is present inside our original variable or not. If we run this, obviously Z is not in our Z is Z. See, this is not a single character. This is a string. This is defined inside this double quote. And here Z is being treated as a string. So we are searching for whether Z is present inside our original string or not. Let's see this one. So here we are searching for this substring ELLO, whether this is in our variable or not. So ELLO is inside this variable. So we can use in to search whether this object, this value is present inside the object or not. And the reverse is that not in. So not in is the reverse logic of in. So in is in and not in, they works in reverse way. Is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Another thing we are going to use this function. This is the length function to find out the length of our particular data structure. As string is a data structure, we can use the length function. The abbreviation is len. So by using this, we can find out the length of our data structure. So we can use len to find out the length of a string. Now this is called a string format. This is useful. We'll learn split function later in our discussion. So first, let's see how is this string, how this string format works. This is very useful. This is called string format. sorry, this is not a particular perfect example. Let's try out this different one. One brace is missing. Okay, fine. Can you check whether the brace is bracket is missing or not?
স্যার ইজ ইয়ার সোল্ডার স্ট্রিং তো স্ট্রিং এর পর আমাদের হবে ফার্স্ট ভ্যালুটার ভিতরে আছে
স্যার ওল্ড এর পরে এখানে ব্র্যাকেট হয়ে গেছে
ওল্ডের পরে প্যাকেটটা
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ,
স্যার ওটা
extra.
চেঞ্জ করতে হবে
রাইট ওল্ডের পরে এক্সট্রা প্যাকেট হয়ে গেছে।
স্যার প্রিন্ট হবে স্যার
স্ট্রিংটা ভুল আছে
স্যার
Okay, so this is actually formatting a string as a you have to incorporate different data types in your output, display output. So this is a way that you can use to format a string. Always there are different ways like if you have to print the age as the variable data type of this variable is integer. So if you write this, say age is, then if you write this, say age, this will not work. Why this will not work? But also if you write this class age, this will not work because these are two different data types. As this left hand side data type is a string and right hand side data type is integer. So you have to convert this using the str function and then it will work. But if you are handling different data types, or if you define data type of your own, then for each and every print statement you have to convert those data types by using this str function. Str actually it will this will actually generate a string by using the argument presented here, and then only you can concatenate this string by using the plus symbol. So on your output, you have to do this method for each and every variable that you want to display to the user. So there will be a lots of lines of code, but you can use this format method by then you can use only a single line of statements to display all those variables inside a meaningful message to the user. So this is the format of a string, and if you write the variable according to the order, and this will print. So let me comment out line number 5 here. So the first bracket, the first portion of the second bracket, this will be replaced by the name, and the second will be replaced by the age. So we have to keep in mind the order of this variable. Okay, if you write this order in a different way, then it will not work. So if you write this in a reverse way, it will display the result in a reverse way also. So you have to follow the order of the variable. So this is called a string formatting. This is for to reduce the lines of code, and also it increases the readability of the code. Now let's see how we can use list. What is list? So array is not there in Python, unlike C, but the list, which is more than an array, you can use the list data structure. This is called Python collections. So the technical term is Python collections, and all this data structure, list, sets, tuples, dictionaries, these all are falls under the Python collections. So this is the technical term, collections. So basically these are data structure. So how we can define a list, and also we can use the list as an array in our program. So this is, you may consider this is as a dynamic array. The syntax is you have to use the third bracket, and you have to use comma to separate different variables. Say we have 12, comma 1, comma 3, comma 0, comma 4, comma 67. So this is a list, and we can traverse, we can access this list using their index number. So this can be traversed. So technically this is said that the list data structure is ordered. That means you can traverse through the list using their index number. Traverse through the list, we can traverse through any data structure, but here in list we can traverse through the list using their index number. That is why the list data structure is called ordered data structure. So what is in position 0? So position 0 is 12. And what is in position 6? What happened? So this is the error thrown back to us because the list index is out of range. So the last index value 67, which is in 5. So we cannot traverse beyond 5. Okay. So in 5 we have the value 67. Now this list collection, this is ordered. That means you can use the index number to access the particular element present inside the list. That is why it is called an ordered collection or ordered data structure. Another technical term is the list is ordered and mutable. What is mutable? Mutable means that you can change once the list is defined. In line number 1, we have defined the list by using the variable name mylist. So this is the definition of our list. We have defined the list, and we can change the value of the list. So the values are changeable. That means the also in technical term the values are, the list is mutable. That means we can change any value present inside the list. So now we'll do that. Let's try using the for loop. Okay. This is a particular argument I have passed inside the print function. So the print automatically provides a new line character, and if we do that, the end value, there will not be a new line character, there will be a space. So just run this program. So you see that each and every value is being separated by a space. Also, you can use a different character here, say this one. So this will be separated by this character, but there is a drawback that after 67 also this will be printed. So for the timing, we will just use this white space. So this is our value 12, 1, 33, 0, 4 and 67. Now we can change the value. My list of say 3. See what is inside the index number 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So my list of 3 is right now 0. Okay. So after for loop, we are changing the value from 0 to say 99. Now again, if we print the list, we can directly use the print method like this. So this is the result. So before the list was 12, 1, 33, 0, 4 and 67, and after the result is that instead of 0, we have changed the value to 99. So that means the list is ordered. So you can use the index method to access any value present inside the list, and also you can change those values. Okay. So this is the property of a list. Now list may contain any data type. Here we have explicitly used the integer numbers, but you can use any data type or a mixed data type. It can have a mixed data type like this. A string like this. So this is a mixed data type. You can have any data type inside a list, unlike array in C. But to solve a real world program, this is actually not required to have multiple data types in a list. Most of the time we'll solve our problem that only required to have a particular data type in our list. Most of the time it is the string object we'll handle. So you can have a list of names, you can have a list of students' roll number, you can have a list of departments, you can have a grocery list like this. So most of the time you will see that list will contain either a numeric data type or a string data type. a mixed data type of list, this will rarely see. Now let's see the split operator of the string. How the split, sorry, this is not an operator, split is a function in string. So let's see how this string split method we can use. So for that we are using MyStr. Say this is our example. So this is a string, this is actually a string, and we'll use MyStr.split. And we'll print the list. So this is the result. See here, the list is actually let's print what is inside the index number 2. Sorry, this is not my SPR, my list. So A is inside our list index number 2. So the split method, what it does is that it splits the string by following a rule. What is the rule? We haven't specified a rule here. This is the empty bracket. So that is the default rule. The default rule that it will split the string using a white space or a space character. So this is a white space. After this, there is a space or white space, then is, then again a space, then a, then again a space. So this split function will split the entire string inside a list. The list here we have defined is my list. So each and every word present inside a sentence will be splitted. So this is our list. Now if you have a passage and if you have to find out how many words are present here, then you can use this split logic like this way. You have to just find out the length of MyStr. So there are 4 words present inside this string. Now the rule is that if you do not specify anything here, then the white space will be counted. But if you have this, say and if you use this comma here, and this will be the output. So we have 7 values present here, and if you print the list, you will get each and every value. So inside the argument of a split, you may use the particular character by which you will split your entire string. And the default value is the white space. Okay. This is very useful for processing a string. আচ্ছা, এখনো অবধি সবাই বুঝতে পেরেছো? কোনো ডাউট আছে?
নো স্যার।
No, sir.
ওকে। আচ্ছা, কেউ কমেন্ট করেছিল প্রোগ্রাম লিখতে অসুবিধা হচ্ছে, মিটিং এ প্রবাবলি নেই আজকে। ওকে।
স্যার
বলো।
স্যার ওই শ্যালো কপি ডিপ কপির জায়গাগুলো একবার দেখিয়ে দেবেন?
আচ্ছা, ওকে। আচ্ছা, আমরা তো একটা সিঙ্গেল ডেটা স্ট্রাকচার স্টাডি করলাম, এছাড়াও আমাদের টাপল আছে, টাপল সেট অ্যান্ড ডিকশনারি। সো this is a recap class and I request you to learn those logics. These are actually similar and they have really small differences among them. So you will find out that few of the data structures, those are immutable. That means once they are defined, you cannot change their values. So like tuple. So if you define those data structure or array, you cannot change the values. But they are ordered. That means you can access those values by using their index number. And few of the data structure like set, they doesn't allow duplicate values. Or dictionary key values, they doesn't allow duplicate values. So this data structure has their own unique properties, but the method of operation, those are almost same through our entire Python collections. So I request you to try doing programs using the list, and you study those data structure, tuples, sets, and dictionary from different online tutorials. And I also suggest to study from here. This is called W3 School. This website has lots of tutorial and hands-on exercises on Python. Also অন্য প্রোগ্রামিং ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজেরও অনেক এক্সারসাইজ তোমরা পাবে, বাট ফর পাইথন ইট ইজ রিয়েলি ইউজফুল অ্যান্ড ইউ ক্যান ডু হ্যান্ডস অন প্র্যাকটিস। যারা নতুন পাইথন প্রোগ্রাম শিখছো তারা ওখানে, যদি তোমরা ল্যাপটপে করো, মোবাইলে একটু ডিফিকাল্ট হবে, কিন্তু যদি তোমরা ল্যাপটপে করো ওখানে তোমার অনেক হ্যান্ডস অন মেথড রয়েছে যেখানে তোমরা ডাইরেক্ট এগুলো ট্রাই করতে পারবে। একটা পার্টিকুলার ডেটা স্ট্রাকচারের ওপরে কি কি মেথড apply করা যায়, we can check that here from here also. If you just put a dot here, you will find out these methods are available here. append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort. These are actually self-explanatory. If you click on any method, uh, it will display the corresponding operations which will be performed. So here this is the online help from Colab, and the description is reverse in place. So mylist.reverse, if I put the cursor here inside the bracket, it will display the help. এটা কি করে, এই ফাংশনটা কি করে? দিস ইজ রিভার্স ইন প্লেস। রিভার্স ইন প্লেস মানে হচ্ছে যে তোমার যে ভ্যালুগুলো রয়েছে ওই ভ্যালুগুলো ইন প্লেস রিভার্স হয়ে যাবে। দ্যাট মিনস দ্য লাস্ট ইন্ডেক্স উইল বিকাম ইয়োর ফার্স্ট ইন্ডেক্স। So in our last index we have 7 here, and after the reverse method the 7 will be in our 0th index and the 44 will be in our last index. So these are self-explanatory. তো আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করব যে তোমরা এই বাকি যেগুলো রয়েছে সেগুলো তোমরা একটু W3 স্কুল বা অন্য কোনো জায়গায় একটু ট্রাই করো, ট্রাই করে দেখো ওখান থেকে তোমরা বুঝতে পারছো কিনা। যদি না বুঝতে পারো তো আমাকে মেসেজ করবে, দেন উইল অ্যারেঞ্জ হোয়াট উই ক্যান ডু। ওকে, and we have to arrange a practical session for you, for all of you. So আমি জানতে চাইবো যে প্রেফারেবল ডেট তোমরা কি দিতে পারো এই উইকে? থার্সডে 11th, আমরা অ্যাকচুয়ালি তো থার্সডেতে ক্লাস নিতাম, তো থার্সডে 11th কি তোমাদের সুবিধা হবে প্র্যাকটিক্যাল এক্সাম দেওয়ার?
স্যার যত তাড়াতাড়ি হয়ে যাবে
স্যার থার্সডে 11th ঠিক আছে স্যার, থার্সডে 11th পড়ার টাইমটা একটু দিতে হবে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, থার্সডে 11th কি শিবরাত্রি আছে? মানে তোমাদের কি কোনো প্রবলেম হতে পারে? আমরা যদি মর্নিং এ, তোমাদের কি ওকে আছে থার্সডে 11th? তোমরা
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
প্রবলেম?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, প্রবলেম নেই।
ওকে ওকে,
স্যার তাহলে থার্সডে 11th কি করাবেন?
আচ্ছা এবার আমি বলে দিচ্ছি কি কি হবে। তো তোমাদের অ্যাকচুয়ালি দুটো সেশন হবে, একটা ভাইভার সেশন হবে। তো ভাইভার সেশনটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি তোমাদের একটা কুইজ থাকবে, কুইজ, শর্ট কুইজ থাকবে। ওই কুইজটা তোমাদেরকে অ্যাটেন্ড করতে হবে। কুইজটা আমি গুগল ফর্মেই দেবো। ভাইভা অ্যাকচুয়ালি মানে ভোকাল ওয়েতে বা ইন্টারাকশন এটা আমি করতে চাইছি না। এখানে অনেকের দেখি নেটওয়ার্ক ডিলে হয়, অনেক রকম প্রবলেম হয়, অনেকে ভিডিও প্রবলেম হয়। তো ভাইভাটা আমি অ্যাজ এ কুইজ করব, আর প্র্যাকটিক্যাল তোমাদেরকে একটা প্রোগ্রাম করতে হবে। যে প্রোগ্রামটা তোমরা আমি এখানে দিয়ে দেবো, তোমরা প্রোগ্রামটা পেপারে করবে, মেশিনে ট্রাই আউট করো। পেপারে তোমাদের ডকুমেন্টেশনটা লাগবে, দ্য প্রোগ্রাম স্টেটমেন্ট and the code and then the output, and you have to scan the copy and you have to upload it on another Google form. That is the procedure. তাহলে দুটো পার্ট হবে, একটা পার্ট হচ্ছে ভাইভার আর একটা পার্ট হচ্ছে প্রোগ্রামিং এক্সারসাইজ।
স্যার থার্সডেতে তাহলে শুধু প্র্যাকটিক্যালটাই হবে তাই তো?
হ্যাঁ, থার্সডেতে শুধু প্র্যাকটিক্যালটাই হবে, দুটো সেশন একসাথে, একটা ভাইভার সেশন আর একটা প্রোগ্রামিং অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট।
স্যার মার্কস কত থাকবে?
100।
স্যার কুইজটা কি স্যার গুগল ফর্মে থাকবে?
হ্যাঁ, কুইজটা গুগল ফর্মে থাকবে আর প্র্যাকটিক্যাল সাবমিশনটাও গুগল ফর্মে থাকবে।
ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
কুইজটা মানে সময় অ্যাকচুয়ালি যেটা হয় 3 আওয়ার্স ল্যাব সেই সময় থাকবে না, আমি ছোট প্রোগ্রামই দেখবো আর ছোট কুইজই দেবো, যাতে মানে পুরো প্রসেসটা তোমাদের 1.5 আওয়ারে শেষ হয়ে যায়। ওকে,
ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার।
স্যার ওই শ্যালো কপি ডিপ কপি সেকশনটা আর এক্সেপশন হ্যান্ডলিংটা স্যার একটু যদি রিক্যাপ দিয়ে দেন।
ওকে, just a minute, hold on. একটু হোল্ড করো, অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্যারালালি আর একটা ল্যাব চলছে।
ওকে স্যার।
হ্যালো,
ইয়েস স্যার।
আমি একটা রিকোয়েস্ট করব, তোমরা কি টিউসডে আর একদিন সময় দিতে পারবে? মানে যেটুকু পোর্শন বাকি আছে আর তোমরা যেটা বললে ডিপ কপি এন্ড এক্সেপশন হ্যান্ডলিং, ওটা টাইম লাগবে। অ্যাকচুয়ালি 2:30 থেকে একটা সেশন রয়েছে, 10 মিনিটসে কমপ্লিট করা যাবে না, একটু লং সেশন লাগবে, অ্যাটলিস্ট 1 আওয়ার লাগবে। তো আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করবো টিউসডেতে যদি তোমরা একটু টাইম দিতে পারো খুব ভালো হয়।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, কোনো প্রবলেম নেই।
হবে স্যার, টুইস্ট টাইম হবে।
ওকে,
নো
ওকে,
প্রবলেম।
ওকে, ওকে, তাহলে আমরা টিউসডেতে ইভিনিং এ বা এরকম সময় আমরা অ্যারেঞ্জ করব।
ওকে স্যার।
কনভিনিয়েন্ট টাইম একটু বলে দাও, আমি টিউসডেতে অ্যারেঞ্জ করে দেবো।
ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
ওকে স্যার।
ওকে, ওকে, আজকে একটু 2:30 আরেকটা সেশন আছে, আমাকে এন্ড করতে হবে।
ঠিক
ঠিক
আছে
আছে,
স্যার।
তাহলে টিউসডেতে মিট করবো।
ওকে স্যার।
হবে তাই তো?
ওকে, আর থার্সডেতে আমরা এক্সাম নেব।
স্যার, এক্সামের টপিক গুলো একটু বলে দেবেন স্যার, কোথা থেকে মানে কি কি টপিক দেখে রাখবো এক্সামের জন্য?
আমি যে ওই ফাইলগুলো শেয়ার করেছিলাম কোলাবরেটরিতে, আমরা যেগুলো করেছি ওইগুলো একটু স্টাডি করে নিও।
ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
ওকে,
ওকে স্যার।
আর যাদের কাছে নেই আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করবো অন্যদের থেকে কালেক্ট করে নেওয়ার জন্য। হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে যারা পরে জয়েন করেছে হয়তো ওদের কাছে এখনো যায়নি। তো আগের ল্যাবের সেশনগুলোতে যেগুলো হয়েছে তোমরা তোমাদের ফ্রেন্ডসদের থেকে একটু কালেক্ট করে নিও।
ওকে স্যার।
ওকে স্যার।
ওকে ওকে, তাহলে এখন এন্ড করছি।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।